Hello everyone, my name is Billy Camperlino, a distance student at Queen's University. This presentation is for Aboriginal Law, Law 202. It is regarding the death of Tammy Kish, a 17-year-old girl from North Caribou Lake First Nation. Her body was found in Thunder Bay's Nibing McIntyre floodway. According to the police, she drowned, and no other explanation was provided, nor was an initial investigation started. Tammy Kish is one of many unsolved murdered and or missing Aboriginal girls, and this has been like a plague in Aboriginal communities, which has led to an everlasting tension between the Aboriginal community and the justice system that seems to show a lack of interest in the disappearance and murder of Aboriginal girls. A few issues arises from this case. The first and obvious issue is the fact that Tammy Kish died while in the welfare system. As per paragraph 1.1 of the Child and Family Services Act, the main purpose of the welfare system is to promote the best interests, protection, and well-being of children. The second issue is the fact that the justice system's lack of interest in the murder and disappearance of Aboriginal girls can widely seen compared to non-Aboriginal ones, especially white girls and women. This case has a colonial aspect to it, considering the relationship between indigenous peoples and the Canadian justice system. In this specific case, the Thunder Bay Police Department. The relationship is strained and there is a lack of trust from the indigenous people, from the indigenous communities. One would ask why there is a colonial aspect since this case is about a girl who drowned. To each action there is an effect. We need to look at Aboriginal people's past to have a clearer understanding as to why Tammy Kish ended up in the welfare system where she died. Aboriginal people have had a complex past with the Canadian government through colonialism, treaty signings, and the assimilation system. The residential school system has marked them physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Some of the direct effects of the assimilation system has on them are the loss of originality or roots, alcoholism, and domestic violence. The effect of the assimilation system and the government's lack of understanding and respect for the indigenous law has resulted into the Aboriginal people not trusting the government. Tammy Kishi's death is also related to the failure of the legal system, again, because of the government's lack of understanding of indigenous law. Aboriginal peoples, to solve all kind of problems or conflicts, even legal ones like Tammy's, would not turn to the welfare system. They would refer to the elders, the spirit of the circle, and medicine, which is something that Mary Ann Spencer covered in her restorative justice conversation with Professor Chouquet. The land also has an implication into this case, although it's indirect, because Tammy Kishi's tough life and her death are connected to her parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents' loss of their land, which means a lot to the Aboriginal peoples. The land means more than property to them. As per Bonita Lawrence and Enakshi Dua from Speaking the Truth, they said to separate indigenous peoples from their land is to preempt indigenous sovereignty. The government has not made it easy for Aboriginal people to acquire title to their land. It's nearly impossible for them to do so, which in turns makes it hard for development to happen in their community. The arrival of the Europeans on this land made life very difficult for Aboriginal peoples as they saw their land being taken away from them. They were being secluded as they were placed in what you call reserves. And also, as Chief Ronald Ignace said when he talked about the coyote and his host, Aboriginal peoples lost their way. They lost their roots with the arrival of the Europeans. The justice system has failed the Aboriginal people time and time again, as they have not seen unequal treatment compared to white missing or murdered girls. As per the Star, between 1980 to 2012, approximately 89% of non-Aboriginal female homicides were solved, whereas it was 70% of the Aboriginal females for the same period of time. In Newsworthy Victims of Kristen Gilchrist, who is the author, she discussed how white missing or murdered females or women received more media coverage than the Aboriginal ones. Some of her findings were the following. Non-Aboriginal women were mentioned in the local press a total of 511 times compared to just 82 times for Aboriginal women. And while there were 187 articles about non-Aboriginal women, Aboriginal women received just 53 articles. As mentioned at the start of this presentation, Temikishi's case is not an isolated one. There are a multitude of unsolved cases like hers. The lack of media coverage and the lack of government's interest in missing and or murdered Aboriginal girls and women shows why that is so. Cases like Temikishi's proves that the government failed their mission, which is to promote the best interests, protection and well-being of children while in the welfare system. As per Stephanie Jensen from Law Now, in her article Aboriginal Children and Child Welfare Policies, she said that the Constitution Act 91.24 gave exclusive authority to the federal government to overlook Indians and lands reserved for Indians. She carried on by saying that recent and provocative argument has suggested that child welfare system has become the modernized version of residential school system. Now, I hope this presentation has opened your eyes. And from now on, when you hear or read something about Aboriginal people's misfortune, you can look at it with a different point of view. Thank you.